Plain water, salt water, right? If I could do this without spilling a drop of water, okay, pretend I can, what's going to happen eventually to this water? The salt's going to want to mix with the fresh water. Eventually, over time, and I don't know what time it's going to take, they'll be equal in concentration. There'll be just as much salt here as there will be here. Okay, follow me so far? Okay, now, still the same salt water, still the same fresh water. And now I'm going to take a paper towel, which if you read anything about osmotic pressure, they're going to call this, you ready for this? A semi-permeable membrane. Okay. And I'm going to place it over there. And because it's permeable, what's going to happen is the same thing. Salt's going to go through the membrane, and it's going to equalize on both things. Okay. Now, suppose I take that away, and instead of using a paper towel that's a semi-permeable membrane, I'm going to use a piece of plastic. And now I put that over there. What do you think's going to happen now?
Not that they're going to remain the way they are.
It's going to create pressure.
Okay.
Because the salt is going to want to go towards a fresh area, so what will happen is it'll bubble. And it'll be trying to force its way into that. Now, the same would occur if this were air. If this were air with a lot of particles in it versus lighter air, it's always going to want to equal. So that's what osmotic pressure is. That pressure being created to push that is called osmotic pressure. So what happens is if you put, and this applies to other flooring surfaces too that are not porous, if you put an epoxy coating, like an epoxy coating floor, on a slab that has moisture in there, what's going to happen, it's going to create a bubble. And the reason it creates a bubble is due to osmotic pressure, not hydrostatic pressure that most people think. And the pressure created in osmotic pressure is 100 times stronger than hydrostatic pressure. I've taken bubbles, and you'll see pictures of this on terrazzo, epoxy terrazzo. I've poked a hole in it with a drill, and the water literally hits the ceiling.
Wow.
That's kind of pressure that builds up in that bubble.
And the pressure, okay. The water is where?
In the concrete. Under the concrete, yeah, originally in the concrete. But because it can't go anywhere, it can't escape, it's creating that pressure.
It's building more pressure.
So how does the builder know that his concrete's good?
And we're getting into that.
Oh, okay.
We're getting into how to measure it before you do the installation, if you can, which we're getting ready to do here in a second.
I liked it. It was very informative. I learned a lot. It was what I expected and then some. I will be sending future employees to the class.
I thought the class was excellent, very informative, and we learned a lot. I think we all learned a lot. I would take it again actually myself.
Es interesante y siempre hay algo nuevo que aprende. Claro, recomiendo y es bueno para tener experiencia de todo tipo.
It was very informative. I had confirmation on a lot of things I knew, and it makes me feel solidified in my knowledge of the industry. I also learned a lot of new things. It was great to jabberjaw with other people in the industry and find out how they do things. So it was all around wonderful. I would recommend it to anybody in the industry, from fabricators to inspectors, restoration contractors, installers.
It was amazing. I learned a ton.
Hi, Mom.
And would you recommend it?
Absolutely.
And how many people have you killed?
I could tell you, but then I'd have to kill you too.
That's good.